Ree knew he should go to bed, but instead he clicked on another story about a cheating spouse. Were these stories real? Could people actually betray someone they claimed to love? The words burrowed into his mind, planting seeds of doubt and suspicion. He began to watch his wife, Pamela, more closely, analyzing her every move and interaction. When they went out dancing, he bristled if she got too close to another man. At home, he rifled through laundry baskets, searching for signs of betrayal. Ree and Pamela had met at her sister Sandy's wedding, a vibrant celebration where the couple tying the knot were rumored to be swingers. Ree had no inkling of that at the time. He and Pamela had hit it off instantly, marrying a year later. Their life seemed perfect. Kyle came along the following year, and 2 years after that they welcomed Kayla. But their differing work shifts meant they rarely saw each other. Beneath the surface of their picture-perfect family life, cracks began to form. Sandy and her husband, Bob, were notorious for their wild parties and swinger lifestyle. Ree had never liked Bob, especially after catching him flirting with Pamela at their own wedding reception. Over time, the tension simmered. He and Pamela had agreed never to discuss past relationships. Both were too jealous to handle it. But one day, Pamela asked Ree to fix a leaky sink at Sandy's house. "Sure, I'll take a look," Ree replied with a smirk. "Maybe I can do some plumbing while I'm there." Pamela's eyes flashed. "Don't even joke about that, mister. That's my sister." "Relax, I'm kidding," Ree said, holding up his hands in mock surrender. But as he left the house, he couldn't shake the rumors about Sandy and Bob. When Ree arrived at Sandy's, she greeted him at the door wearing nothing but a flimsy bathrobe. "Come on in," she purred. "Coffee's on if you want some." Ree's mouth went dry. Thanks. I'll just take a look at that sink." As Ree knelt to examine the pipes, Sandy hovered close behind. When he stood, she was right there, her robe hanging open. "What are you doing, Sandy?" Ree stammered, stepping back. "What does it look like?" she replied, advancing toward him. "I want you, Ree. I always have." "Stop it. I'm just here to fix the sink." "This isn't right." Her eyes narrowed. "Are you going to sleep with me or not?" "Oh, absolutely not. Pamela's your sister, for God's sake." "I love her." "Fine," Sandy spat. "But if you don't give me what I want, I'll tell Pamela you tried to force yourself on me. Who do you think she'll believe?" Ree bolted from the house, his thoughts racing. He tried calling Pamela, but she didn't answer. That night at work, he could barely focus, consumed by Sandy's threat. When he returned home the next morning, Sandy's car was in the driveway. Inside, he found Bob hastily pulling up his pants, Sandy smirking on the couch, and Pamela looking scared and very drunk. "What the hell is going on?" Ree roared, lunging at Bob. Fists flew. In the chaos, someone hit Ree from behind and everything went black. When Ree woke up in the hospital, a police officer stood by his bed. "You're lucky, Mr. Harper. No charges were filed, but I suggest you think long and hard about your actions." Ree's head throbbed as he tried to piece together what had happened. He couldn't live with a cheater, but he needed answers. When Pamela called, her voice was trembling. "We need to talk. Now that we're even." "Even?" Ree interrupted, his blood boiling. "You slept with Bob." Pamela burst into tears. "I only did it because of what you did with Sandy." "That's a lie," Ree spat. "She came on to me. I left immediately." Pamela's face crumpled. "I don't know what to believe," Sandy said. "She's lying," Ree cut in coldly. "Sandy and Bob are swingers. They wanted to pull you into their mess. You fell for it, and as far as I'm concerned, we're done." Over the next few weeks, Ree moved out, filed for divorce, and focused on rebuilding his life. But the betrayal gnawed at him. One day, while picking up Kyle from school, he overheard a call on the house phone. It was Sandy, confessing to her lies. Ree recorded the conversation and left. His anger rekindled. When Pamela tried to reconcile, her pleas fell on deaf ears. "Love doesn't include sleeping with other people," Ree said before walking out. In the end, Ree's bitterness consumed him. An altercation with Bob at a bar led to his arrest, and this time there were no dropped charges. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. As Ree sat in his cell, his heart hardened. Pamela visited, her tears flowing freely. "I still love you, Ree," she whispered. "I'll wait for you." Ree turned away, her words echoing in his mind as he walked back to his bunk. Ree moved cautiously, his suspicions gnawing at him. His instincts told him to take precautions, and he wasn't wrong. The next day, an attack against Killer unfolded in the prison yard. Yet Killer, ever shrewd, had prepared. Beneath his shirt, he'd hidden books that deflected the crude shank aimed at him. His crew retaliated swiftly, beating the would-be assailant to a bloody pulp before the guards could intervene. Through it all, Killer remained unbothered, calmly finishing his dinner as chaos swirled around him. The incident marked a shift in the dynamic between Killer and Ree. What began as a reluctant coexistence blossomed into an unexpected friendship. In the quiet privacy of their cell, Killer showed Ree a surprising depth of humanity. He asked about Pamela and the kids, even sharing pieces of his own past, stories of his estranged family and the wife who had torn it apart. "My youngest daughter, Anna, is the only one who still writes to me," Killer confided one evening. "She knows the truth about her mother. She's in law school now. Bright, determined, just like her old man." His face softened with pride. "But I won't let her visit me here. It's not safe for someone like her." Ree listened, absorbing Killer's pain, and in turn, found himself opening up about his own struggles. He spoke of Sandy's betrayal, Pamela's infidelity, and the tangled web of mistrust that had suffocated his marriage. "Do you still love her?" Killer asked bluntly. Ree hesitated. "Yeah, I do. But I hate what she did. How do you move past something like that?" Killer snorted. "You think I don't know that feeling? Hell, I killed for the same damn reason. But holding on to it." His voice trailed off, his expression darkening. "It'll eat you alive, kid. If she loves you enough to wait for you, why the hell can't you let go? Look around, this place is rock bottom. You got a shot at something better. Don't waste it." Killer's words lingered in Ree's mind. Late at night, he wrestled with them, turning over his anger and longing like a puzzle with no solution. He wanted to forgive Pamela, but every time he thought of her with Bob, the wound bled fresh. Weeks passed, and Pamela visited again. Her eyes were tired, her voice pleading. "The kids miss you so much. Is there any chance we can be a family again? I'll do whatever it takes, Ree." Ree stared at her, his emotions tangled. "I want to forgive you, Pamela, but every time I close my eyes, I see you with him." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I hated every second of it. When I saw your face that night, I felt sick. I'd give anything to take it all back." Ree's resolve wavered, but before he could make sense of his feelings, Amy visited with troubling news. "I drove by your old house," she said quietly. Sandy and Bob's cars were in the driveway. Ree's heart sank. Anger and confusion twisted together, choking his breath. Had Pamela been lying to him all along? Around the same time, Killer offered his help with Ree's parole hearing, surprising him with his legal knowledge. "Once upon a time I was a lawyer," Killer said with a wry grin. Though skeptical, Ree took his advice. When the day of the hearing arrived, Ree faced a panel that grilled him on his behavior in prison and his plans for the future. He answered honestly, speaking of Amy's offer to house him and his former employer's willingness to rehire him. "What are the chances you'll end up back here?" one board member asked pointedly. Ree met their gaze. "I never want to see the inside of these walls again." Back in his cell, Ree shared the details with Killer. "Think you'll get out early?" Killer asked with a knowing smile. "I don't know," Ree admitted. "Well, if you do, I'll be expecting those weekly packs of smokes." A few days later, Pamela visited again, nervous but hopeful. "Someone from the parole board came by the house," she said. "What did they want?" Ree asked, narrowing his eyes. "They wanted to know if you could live there." I told them we're separated, but that I'd love to have you back. Ree's suspicion flared. You told me you'd stop seeing Sandy. Is that true? Pamela hesitated. She's still my sister, Ree. I don't see her much, but… And what about Bob? Ree cut her off. Seen him lately? Pamela shifted uncomfortably. It's not like that, Ree. I can explain. Save it, he snapped, his voice cold. Tell your lover that when I get out, I'm finishing what I started at the bar. And if you've been fooling around again, I'll deal with you too. Pamela fled the room in tears. Ree's worst fears were confirmed. He was being dragged back into the mess that had destroyed him. That night Ree called Amy, spilling everything. I need to know the truth, he said. Can you keep an eye on the house? Of course, Amy promised. I'll do whatever it takes to help. A week later Ree got the news. He was being released. As he stepped outside the prison gates, Amy was there, tears streaming down her face. They hugged tightly, the weight of the past months finally lifting. What now? Amy asked as they drove home. I need to see the kids, Ree said. But Pamela and we're done. When Ree reunited with Kyle and Kayla, their joyful cries of "Daddy" brought him to his knees. He hugged them fiercely, vowing to protect them from the chaos that had shattered their family. As he stood on the porch, Pamela's eyes met his, weary and full of regret. What do you want, Ree? She asked. I want my kids, he said firmly. And if you ever expose them to Sandy and Bob's filth again, I'll take them away for good. Pamela flinched, tears filling her eyes. I'd never hurt them, Ree. You already did, he replied, his voice cold. This is the last chance I'm giving you. Pamela nodded silently, watching as Ree walked back to his car, the weight of their fractured family pressing down on them both. Ree was determined to ensure his children were protected from bad influences. After confronting Pamela, he made a promise to himself to focus on their well-being. Tomorrow, I'm meeting with my lawyer to discuss my rights as their father, he said before walking away, leaving Pamela in tears. Her attempts to explain herself fell on deaf ears. Ree had said his piece and was resolute in rebuilding his life and being a steadfast presence for his children. The following day, Ree walked into the prestigious law office that had facilitated his early release. I have an appointment with Mr. A.J. Brady, he told the receptionist. She smiled warmly. Miss Brady will be with you shortly. The name confused him, but before he could question it, a stunning woman with a confident air and a sharp blue suit approached. Mr. Harper, I'm A.J. Brady, she said, extending her hand. Her voice was melodic yet professional. Please, come into my office so we can discuss your case. As they settled into the private space, Ree felt captivated by her poise. She began by explaining the glaring errors in his initial trial and the missed opportunities to highlight mitigating circumstances. Why me? Ree asked, still unsure how he'd come to deserve her expertise. AJ's eyes softened with emotion. My father asked me to review your case. You might know him better as Killer. Ree's jaw dropped in disbelief. You're Anna, his favorite daughter. With a gentle smile, she replied. Angelina Juanita Brady, at your service. Now let's focus on your situation. During their meeting, Ree couldn't help but notice the warmth hidden beneath her professionalism. Over lunch, he cautiously tried to learn more about her. At least tell me about your legal background, he urged, trying to keep the conversation light. Anna allowed herself a small smile. Full scholarship for my law degree. I've been specializing in criminal law for years now. He admired her resilience and passion but couldn't resist blurting out. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Anna blushed but kept her composure. I don't date clients, Mr. Harper. But thank you for the compliment. Despite her efforts to keep things professional, there was an undeniable connection between them. Over the next few weeks, they met regularly to finalize his parole requirements. After their final session, Ree surprised her. I'm firing you, he declared with a sly grin. Her eyes widened. After everything I've done for you. And pro bono no less. Exactly, he replied. You don't date clients, and I want to take you on a real date. Dinner, dancing, the works. Anna hesitated, her professional demeanor faltering for a moment. I shouldn't, but okay. One date. But don't you dare expect anything more than that. Their first date was a revelation. Over dinner, Anna shared pieces of her life. She spoke about her parents' divorce, her father's imprisonment, and the guilt she carried for revealing her mother's infidelity. Sometimes I wonder if things would have been different if I'd just kept quiet, she admitted. Ree gently reassured her. You were a kid trying to do the right thing. You can't blame yourself for what happened. As the evening progressed, they danced, swayed by the music and their growing affection. When Ree kissed her hair softly, Anna whispered, I don't date much. If it weren't for my dad sending you my way, I don't think I'd be here right now. Remind me to send him an extra pack of smokes, Ree joked, earning a laugh from Anna. Their relationship deepened over time. Anna began sharing more about her past, including a brief marriage during college that ended in heartbreak. Despite her guarded nature, she agreed to attend a family barbecue at Ree's sister's house, meeting his children and earning their approval. Meanwhile, Pamela had started dating someone new, a teacher named Pat. Although initially wary, Ree appreciated that Pat seemed to be good for his kids. If you care about him, don't mess this up like you did with us, he told Pamela, hoping she'd learned from her mistakes. Ree's life was steadily improving. He found a small apartment close to Pamela's house, ensuring his kids had a comfortable space to stay on weekends. As he cooked breakfast one morning, he turned to Anna. Will you marry me? He asked, his voice trembling with hope. Tears welled in her eyes as she nodded. Yes, Ree. But I wish my dad could be there to walk me down the aisle. Determined to make it happen, Ree visited the prison and pitched a bold idea to both Killer and the warden. After some persuasion, they agreed to let the wedding take place in the prison chapel under strict conditions. When Ree told Anna, her tears turned to joy. On their wedding day, Anna wore her mother's engagement ring, a gift from her father she'd found in a safety deposit box. Killer beamed with pride as he saw his daughter in her gown. The bittersweet moment brought the family closer, even within the prison walls. As they exchanged vows, Ree promised to love and protect Anna for the rest of his life. In turn, Anna vowed to stand by him, proving that love could bloom even in the most unlikely of places. For the first time in years, both felt truly free, ready to build a future together.